the sessions on leveraging technology to /optimized programs. Really quick introduction. My name is Rathbone. I am the head of technology for Schaaf-PartnerCentric. We're an affiliate marketing agency. All right, so what do you mean by leveraging technology? So I'm going back and forth with this presentation. The easy track column 2 is trying to review features that are available on platforms. Quite frankly, that information is pretty readily available, and I didn't want to go over that and have a feature review. So instead, what I wanted to go over was some larger scale trends, some things that are going on out there, some things that you're probably well aware of, some hypotheticals and ways that we can leverage that, and then come back full circle and talk about the best use cases, the best ways to keep an eye out for those and apply them to your business model. So the first one we'll go to is APIs. This is not a new thing. This is an old thing. This is a decades-old thing. APIs are not new, but what we've started to see in the past couple years is a big trend towards decoupling of services. We've seen a lot of technology platforms taking their own seemingly monolithic platform and spinning off all these services into different APIs. What that allows you to do then is take the core part of that technology platform and apply it to your own business. So you don't need to log into their UI, their specific use case, and use it for try and force it into your own business model. Instead, you can pull that data back in to your own platform, your own ERP, your own CRM, whatever you need. So this technology is more of a computational, programmatic platform as opposed to an actual UI you have to log into. I'm sure your LastPass or your OnePass has enough logins as it is. So all these products that were once pretty close to being good for us were hard to grasp because maybe the UI was really specific to a particular business model, or maybe the UI tried to be everything to everybody and became really hard and clunky to use, is now much easier for everybody to pull into their own platforms, make this technology provider much broader and broaden their market impact. So while APIs have been used more and more over the past couple of years to a great extent, we're starting to see them affecting the end user like ourselves much more. So a great example of this is WordPress. They're perhaps the largest CMS, most successful CMS of all time, and they mastered this through the delivery of this administrator interface, this way to quickly deploy blog posts on your site, and this create a massive ecosystem of third-party developers, which is pretty cool and very successful and has been and likely will continue to be so. So this platform would allow anybody, whether it's a beginner using a WYSIWYG or a pro rolling their own code, they can use this UI to really quickly create their sites, and it's a huge part of their success. But this last year, in 2015, they announced that they're moving towards being more API-based, which means that this editing tool, that's a huge part of what they've been working on, is now not going to be necessary. This editing tool is an option. Most people will use it, but it actually means that we'll be able to leverage WordPress's web framework and content repository throughout any way you want to. So if you have an app that you want to post on Twitter and Instagram and WordPress at the same time, you want to create that yourself, you can. I'm sure that app already exists out there. If you want to have posts rolling from your own ERP or your own CRM or anything you want, you can create that. You can access all of WordPress's web framework and content repository on your own terms next to your own systems, which provides much needed context. So what I want to quickly run through here is a real quick little hypothetical thing. It actually doesn't directly relate to this, but it relates to APIs. So I want to do a little thought exercise on using an API directly with an affiliate, which is a use case we can all relate to here, of course. So let's think of a relationship with an affiliate where you as an advertiser, let's say you're an advertiser, actually open up an API directly to an affiliate. This type of direct programmatic relationship is not really that common, if not exceedingly rare in the industry. Let's play around with it anyways. So let's say you're advertiser A, and you have a commission rate you pay to affiliates. For new customers, you pay more than return customers. And you have advertiser B who just gives you flat. Pretty particular use case out there. We see a good deal of this these days. Let's also say that you and your competitor are exactly the same in almost every way. Same clicks, the same average conversion rate, the chance of new customer, and average order size. So not at all something you'd experience out there, but it's hypothetical, so we can do that. So given those two things, an affiliate who does the math is definitely going to promote your competitor. Even though they have the chance of that 9% commission rate, they're not going to run that risk because in the long run, they're going to make more money promoting for advertiser B. Small numbers here, but maybe it could be a much bigger number. Okay. So let's say, oh, that font's all messed up. So let's say you actually opened up an API to an affiliate that you could tell to them with like a Boolean yes or no if, however, somebody on their site was new or returned to you. If it was unknown to you as an advertiser. So an affiliate would load a page and really quickly query your API, and you would say, all right, that customer is not a customer of mine, or a new customer, or it is a new customer, which then allows an affiliate to switch out an ad, which means for that given ad, an affiliate has a much better chance of making more money when they swap out your ad for the competitors. Regardless of how you would do that, I don't know how you would do that because that's actually pretty tough. It's not so much the how you would do it, but the concept of doing that, sharing that data. So now you're turning from maybe a 40% chance of a customer being used for that click to a 75% chance of that being a new customer. That means that affiliate has a much better chance of making that 9%. So they're definitely going to switch out your ad. And now they're going to be making much more money. And they're going to be making more money for you, and now you're taking those customers from your competitor. And that can go in both directions. What are some data points that an affiliate has that you feel like would, if you had it, would help your affiliate advertise to your customers, or vice versa? If you had some data on some new inbound customers from that affiliate, some information on them, that'd be really helpful to you. They can go back and forth. There's no reason it has to be a one-direction thing. So think about that. Think about ways that you can pass data, and not just with affiliates, with any business partners through an API. In the past, we've been very, very protective over our data on both sides, and rightfully so. There's no reason we shouldn't be. That being said, there is definitely this middle ground between our data silos that we should look into leveraging. You can find some really cool synchronicities there, and probably some pretty lucrative ones as well. All right, so we'll move past that one. We'll go to some new forms of tracking. In the past, we've had cookie tracking. That's been the de facto standard. We've moved a little bit beyond that to a fallback fingerprint in a lot of platforms. That's becoming the new de facto standard. And then we have mobile tracking. We have multiple devices, things like that. And this is not going to slow down at any point in time. As the world continues to move faster and faster into this realm, your customers are going to find more ways to interact with your brand, not just to see it, but to hear it, to feel it, to experience it. And it's going to continue. It's not going to come anywhere close to slowing down. If you think it's going to stop at phones and pads and watches, you are definitely mistaken. This trend's going to ramp up and continue seemingly indefinitely. And it's actually kind of a contentious discussion in some tech circles, like the concept of an Internet of Things. A lot of people say that the Internet of Things is a solution looking for a problem. But I'm not sure that's really that fair. I think a lot of the things that we use every day at once would have been considered a solution that doesn't actually solve a problem, but we weren't aware it was a problem. We weren't aware there was a use case for this. A really common joke is when people say, I don't want my refrigerator connected to the internet. And I think that's really uncreative. I do. I would love if my refrigerator was connected to the internet. I think that'd be pretty cool. I think we could do a lot of fun stuff there. I think if my refrigerator was connected to the internet, it'd be able to tell me if I need to change my water filter. Didn't know I needed to do that. How would I know? It would tell me that I was out of milk. I guess I drink a lot of milk and I'm out of it. Thanks for telling me, fridge. Or it could even tell me if maybe it was out of power. I don't know how it would because it would seemingly be out of power. But maybe that would tell me, or another device or something would be able to tell me this. So that's fun. So now what if my fridge can tell me a step past that? Tom, you change your water filter a lot. You got pretty dirty water. There's actually this longer living water filter at Home Depot you should look into trying. Thank you, fridge. That's great advice. I'm probably going to take that. Or it could say, hey, there's this really cool milk you've never even heard about, and you seem to drink a lot of milk. It's on sale at the store. You should go pick it up. It's pretty good advice. I'll probably try that. Or it could even tell me, hey, your power's been out. There's an electrician nearby that you could call. Here's the number. Well, that's excellent. That's great advice. It could even go a step further and say this electrician is a top-rated electrician on Angie's List, and they're available this afternoon, and we know that because they opened up their schedule via API to your fridge. This is excellent. This solves so many problems for me, all because of the Internet of Things. And then further, Home Depot might want to pay a commission. The grocery store might want to pay a commission. The electrician might want to pay a commission to my fridge. I have no idea what my fridge would do with that money. I don't, but it's pretty smart, so it'll figure something out. But that's kind of something I like to look at with this concept of an Internet of Things, is that we have this opportunity to interact with customers in ways that actually directly impact their lives a bit more. It's not just an inline advertisement on some content site that says, all right, they're talking about water filters, let's put an ad for water filters up. It's actually a little more, and it solves a deeper problem that way. All right, let's move past that. Move into location tracking. This is like Minority Report type stuff. I don't know if I can use that image, so I'm just going to keep moving. So Home Depot, I guess I bring up Home Depot a lot. Eric knows I go there a lot. Okay, so Home Depot and Nordstrom used to do this thing a few years ago, and it was pretty cool. They had Wi-Fi points all over their stores. And what happens is when your phone tries to ping a Wi-Fi point, just looking for any Wi-Fi points are out there, that registers with that Wi-Fi point, and a MAC address gets popped over to that Wi-Fi point. So let's say you have a big store. Let's say you have a bunch of Wi-Fi points with a predictable range, and you have a static MAC address and a time stamp for each time it pings something. You now know how specific customers are moving around your store. That's pretty smart. It's pretty nifty. They don't do it anymore. You can't do it anymore because phones randomize MAC addresses now, so it's gone. And there's a bit of a big stink about it. But it was really interesting, and it was kind of the start of this experiment in tracking how people move through stores. But it opens up this interesting line of thinking. What if you had a customer, an opted-in customer, an important distinction to make, who would give you the information on where they've been and how they're moving through your store? This is not something that's, coming down the road in a few years. This exists. These tracking beacons, you can go buy one. You can buy one and you can stick it on a tree for whatever reason. You can do these things. These beacons track customers, opt-in customers via their devices. So you can see how they move through stores. You can see when they walk through stores. Let's say I walk into a store, they can say, hey, Tom loves power tools at Home Depot. Here's some power tools. You can do these types of things. But past that, you could even tie them into things outside of stores. What if you had a billboard? What if you had a billboard with a beacon on it that would tell that would be able to locate an opt-in customer and say, this customer loves these things, there's a sale, let's switch the ad to show this specific product that this specific customer likes. That's pretty cool. That makes that billboard more effective. But what if that store then, that the customer is being directed to, also had their beacon? Then you actually have taken the affiliate model offline. You have an impression looking at a billboard, you have the click when they walk in the store, and the acceptance of that ad, and then possibly a conversion. That's a pretty clean path to commissioning. Of course, this assumes, again, that the customer viewed the ad and it opted in, but there's eyeball tracking for if they view the ad and opt in for opt-in. So I want to take that, I'm going to come back to that, but I want to take that another step beyond into influencer marketing, which is something we love talking about right now. We love this influencer marketing thing. We talked about it last year. We're going to talk about it this whole year. It's like the new content marketing. Pretty important stuff. So I watched a movie recently called The Master. This is my last movie reference, and there are no spoilers. But it was interesting. In it, there was a scene, it's like post-World War II America, where a woman was walking around a department store wearing a coat, a fur coat. And she wasn't really selling the coat so much as she was showing it to people and modeling it for them and influencing them to see if they were interested in buying this coat. So that's kind of like influencer marketing in person. But if we take all those previous pieces that we've discussed here and actually tie it into this concept, we actually have the ability to create case studies where this influencer can be tracked with their devices and with beacons and with customers, and we can see just how influential this influencer is at a given time in a store, and we can optimize that, which is pretty special. And maybe the store actually has their own API that they connect with the online store. So if you have an opted-in user that has connected to the store and connected to the site, you can see, hey, maybe this customer was online and this customer abandoned the cart with this jacket in there. Okay, that's good information. And then if the influencer knows that, and the customer comes back into the store, well now, I don't know if that's me. So now that influencer can say, here is this coat in these multiple sizes that you didn't check out with for a reason. Do you want to take a second look at it? And that's fun. That's a kind of personalization that customers really crave. And that's possible from connecting all these technologies. Now, granted, it can be a little creepy, so you want to be a little discreet with that, and you want to be pretty good about it. But in reality, that kind of hits this need for customers to feel like they're well treated, to feel like they're wanted, and treats them like the beautiful, unique snowflake that they are. So to circle back, that all seems like it's kind of some high-techy, next-gen type stuff, but it's actually not. A lot of the platforms out here that you're leveraging have the ability to track these events. There's some different technologies that they might not have, but a lot of them do. So we want to think about that. How do we actually decide to leverage these technologies for your business model? These are very hypothetical, pie-in-the-sky use cases that are fun, probably not directly relatable to anybody in this crowd. But the first thing we want to do there is start looking for gaps. You want to start looking for places that customers are starting to interact with your brand and you're not tracking, or places that they would like to interact with your brand and they can't, or places that their attention is being shifted to, which is something we see a lot with the Internet of Things. Maybe their attention is now on their watch. Maybe it's on a billboard. Maybe it's on their really smart fridge. You want to be there for that, and you want to be able to offer them your products at the right times in those situations. Then you want to start looking at these little pieces. It's hard to say, okay, we have this pie-in-the-sky dream of connecting all these things together. Let's do it right now. That's a little daunting. That's probably a bit much. So what I like to recommend in these cases is take these little modules, these components, and start breaking them out and find a use case for each. Find a use case for that beacon tracking on its own that'll add value to your business. Find a use case for APIs on their own, or for location tracking, any of these things. Then as those actually positively impact your business, then you can scale and you can plan for ways to tie those pieces together. That's not going to be something that you're going to plug and play. That's not a static solution out there. It doesn't exist like that. But with the decoupling of services and all of these newer APIs and these ability to interact with these platforms in new ways, you actually can develop these on your own. It's going to take some resources, but it all should. And create these new solutions. There's always going to be tinkering. If someone says it's a plug-and-play solution, it's probably not. You need to change it. There's going to be something that has to get done because not everybody's business model is the same. So just be aware of that. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, please, above all else, don't be one of those people that pushes back on some of these trends and labels them as just flash-in-the-pan trends. You see it over and over again. Look at someone like a company that has had a hard time keeping up because they fell behind because they weren't embracing these new trends and consumer behaviorisms. Snapchat's just starting to open up an API. Get into that one. Be aware of that one. How can you work with that? How can you use that? Stay on top of these things, because if you don't embrace these technologies, your competitor's going to embrace these technologies, and your customer's going to embrace your competitor, and then you're lost. So above all else, embrace these technologies. Open up your tracking to them, open up some APIs, and start finding really good creative ways to use them to interface with your customers. And that's the end of what I got. So we have 9 minutes. Anybody want to talk about anything? If not, then we can get 10 minutes back.
Regarding the IoT, is there any successful model on the advertising on the IoT apps?
Any consensus?
For example, Nest and those are kind of more successful, right? But is there any example of successful advertising on those apps?
That's an interesting question. So I think the Internet of Things, as we're starting to see them, is actually kind of tricky because a lot of them have their own proprietary technology. Like I've been shopping for like a new heat pump for my house, and the best heat pump actually has its own thermostat, and you can't use third-party thermostats with it. And you see that a lot. You see these kind of locked-in software solutions. Another great example is like a smart TV, which just, they always have terrible software in them. It's always terrible stuff. So I think we haven't seen enough actual acceptance from producers or manufacturers for third-party apps and development like that. I think the biggest thing we're starting to see trends with is definitely watches. That's the quickest way to start seeing apps that are interacting with people in an Internet of Things basis. I think it's going to continue to branch out from there.
But on the smart watches, is anybody advertising, or are they looking anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any examples offhand, but we can definitely look for some because I'm almost positive there are. I remember hearing a lot about them, but I don't know of any offhand. I don't own a smartwatch, which is a shame for someone who's the head of technology. Anything else? Cool. Well, if anybody wants to talk about anything like that, or any tracking platform or specific features that I didn't discuss here, because it was going to be too specific to individual business models, feel free to pull me aside, and happy to talk about that stuff.